Hello, everybody, and welcome to Orf in the Philippines, or your old retired friend in the Philippines. Hey, I want to talk today, go in depth a little bit about how poverty affects foreigners in the Philippines in a little bit different angle. One we're going to start with is the availability of goods. I live in Pandan Antique, which is just about in the middle of the Philippines, north and south, in a region known as the Western Visayas. So the availability of goods, it's not probably why you might think. It's not because things are not available. For instance, here where I live, I was looking for a ladder. I needed to buy a ladder so that I would have one around the house to, get up and do work in a little bit higher places. I'm not terribly tall. I'm tall by Filipino standards, but by American standards, not at all. I'm about 5'8", 5'9". So I was looking for a ladder to be able to do some things around the house. And after going to literally every hardware store here in my town, there was not a ladder available. Well, I drove about an hour away to a larger town called Kalibo, and I had no problem finding a ladder. And I started thinking, why? Why would no hardware store here carry a ladder? And I often have to think these things through to try and figure out what's going on. And then it occurred to me, where I live, there's not a lot of people with a lot of money, mostly fishermen or farmers. Not an overwhelming need for ladders, but beyond that, the average income, of course, here rurally, or in the province, as they like to say, is much less than it is in a larger city like Kalibo or Manila or Cebu or any of those. So part of it is, why would a hardware store keep a ladder if they may only sell one of them a year, or maybe not that? Ladders here are expensive compared to the average Filipino salary. In fact, the ones that I've seen cost about 20,000 pesos for what I was looking for, which is about 400 US dollars for a good ladder like you would buy in a Home Depot or a Lowe's in the United States. And, hey, that's what a teacher makes in a month. That's a teacher's salary here is 20,000 pesos. So after I thought about it, it wasn't that, the local hardware stores were cheaping out or didn't have the foresight to order one. It's just, it became a matter of business that they were tying up 20,000 pesos for something that may or may not even sell. And this translates across the board to a lot of things. Yes, I can buy a lot of power tools here, but more simple power tools. I can buy maybe a handsaw, but not a table saw. I could buy a drill, but not a drill press, things like that. And this translates even across to electronics. Yes, I can buy a TV here, but it's probably going to be, if it is a brand like a Samsung or something like that, it's probably going to be a 43-inch. If you want a 65-inch, 55-inch Samsung LG TV, yes, you can get it. And you may find one where you live, but most probably you're going to need to go to a larger city where the income base is higher, where people can afford to buy them. Because once again, those business owners just aren't going to want to invest the money for something that's going to sit for a long period of time. So that's one way that poverty can affect a foreigner in the Philippines. The other one would be availability of food and places to eat. There are what I guess you could call some fast food places here in my town, but they're Filipino fast food places that are very small franchises that either do a partner sharing with the owner, and they're more akin to a food stand in the U.S., something that you might find on the sidewalk, or a food cart, than there would be a full-blown fast food restaurants. Jollibee is the big franchise here for fast food. There are many others here. Shakey's is very plentiful here, unlike in the United States where most of them have gone away. You can find Pizza Huts, you can find Burger King, McDonald's, things like that, but not in these smaller towns. Now, by smaller towns, where I live, there's a total population in Pandan between all the barangays of about 30,000 people. In the U.S., a town with 30,000 people would definitely have a McDonald's. But once again, this comes back to an issue is, can the average person living here afford it? They might be able to afford it, but maybe only once a month or once every 2 weeks, maybe. Are there people here that could afford to eat there often? Yes, but there's not nearly enough. Not nearly enough. It's going to be your business owners or people that come from a family that has had money for quite a long time. So once again, I have to drive about an hour away to find a Jollibee or a McDonald's or a Shakey's. And as far as foods go, you can find food here. There are grocery stores here, but they're going to be the Filipino staple goods. You're probably not going to find any American brands here. Once again, I go to Kalibo, and in most cases, I go 4.5 hours away to a city called Iloilo, where they have an S&R, which is kind of a big box store. In fact, I believe that they are partnered with Costco. In fact, I know they are because they have Costco brands on the shelves, and you can get a lot of things like that there, but you're going to pay a premium for them. So once again, if you're going to pay $4 equivalent for a can of soup that costs $2 in the U.S., like the large can of Progresso clam chowder, yes, you can get it, but you're going to pay a premium for it because they have to ship it literally around the world. And then there's the import taxes and things like that it has to go through to come into the country. Now, does that mean I'm going hungry? Absolutely not. There are plenty of foods. The place where many Filipinos will go, and this is all over the Philippines, even in those large cities, is to their local, what they call a wet market. And it's a place you can get fruit and vegetables, so you can eat a much healthier way here than you can in the United States for much less money, because those are grown by local people, local farmers, and the prices are very good. You can also get meat like chicken and pork readily. Beef is not nearly as available, and it is expensive because the amount of cattle here in the Philippines is nothing like in the United States. The dominant things raised here are pigs and chickens. So, of course, those meats are much cheaper. You're also not going to get the processing that you do in the U.S. Like your bacons, it's going to be pretty much pork belly that's being cut into strips for you. It's not going to be any kind of a cured, honey maple syrup or whatever, like we get in the U.S. where it's a cured bacon. It's going to be pretty much pork belly that you just fry, which is still good. Bacon's bacon, right? Everybody loves bacon. So that kind of changes things a little bit too. Now, a lot of these things I'm saying, I want to preface by saying that this is pretty unique to rural communities or living in the province. In your larger cities, you have no problem finding these things, but once again, you're going to pay a premium for them. So another thing I'd kind of like to talk about is kind of being targeted for money. I feel that it happens more in larger cities than it does here. And when I say targeted for money, I mean, I guess people wanting to borrow money. That probably won't happen unless you have a Filipino girlfriend or Filipino wife, because most Filipinos are kind of shy to talk to Americans. While they understand English very well, they watch movies and they understand them, they don't speak it as much as they do. But most of them, if you speak to them, will try, and they will try and greet you in English if they see you on the street. Hello, hi, good morning. But you might be surprised if you stop to talk to them that that's kind of the extent of their English, and that their English is very limited. And it's not that they don't, they're shy or don't want to be embarrassed if they talk to you in an incorrect way or don't pronounce the words right. So that would lead a lot of people just to avoid speaking with you. But as far as being targeted for money, I wouldn't say that that's really a problem in the province. Yes, I get the occasional child or the occasional older person that might hold their hand out to me. The other group of people that might do that are those that are mentally ill, which we do have them here just like we do everywhere. And if they're on the street, they may be looking for a handout for lunch or whatever like that. To me, I tend to give these people, 20 or 40 pesos, which is somewhere between 50 cents and $1. But that will buy them food here in the Philippines. That'll buy them a bowl of rice. It will buy them a roll filled with meat called siopao. It'll buy you a hot dog at 7-Eleven. It can get you food here. And if they go to the little local food stands, it'll go even further. They can get fried chicken and various things, certainly in that price range. The other night I was in a location here over on the beach and got a barbecued hot dog on a stick. And it was 20 pesos. So it was somewhere just shy of 40 cents or around 40 cents, I guess. But we'll move on from that now. And I want to talk about something that a lot of people talk about, and that's being targeted by women. Are you targeted by women? Okay, to be fair, yes, but you're targeted by women if you have or appear to have money in the U.S. or anywhere else. And I would say what motivates this is not greed in most cases. It's just they are looking for a partner or a spouse that can provide security. And guess what? If you've ever read the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, they say right away that that's the number one thing that women look for in a man is security. So when they see you, do they see money? Yes, but they also see someone who can provide for them, can provide for their children, and they could live a financially stable life. Does that mean that they don't love you and it's just for the money? In most cases, no. If you're a 70 or 80-year-old man and it's a 18 to 20-year-old woman or woman in their early 20s, yeah. Do you really think that they're into you because you look so good at 70 or 80 years old? You got to be realistic. Can you get a young girl like that? Yes, but don't expect it to be love. Expect it to be for the money. But if you can come somewhere, closer to your age, but I would say 35 and over, these are women, they've lived life, they've been around, and they're just looking for stability and to live a nice, peaceful life. Not to say that every woman over 35 has strictly honorable intentions, because, people are the same everywhere. So you've got to be realistic about it and know what's what. But as far as targeting you just for your money, no, there are many women that are very loving. Filipinos tend to be very loving. In fact, all Filipinos tend to be very loving and nurturing by nature. So it's just their nature. When you get older, you can expect them to take care of you. You can expect them to take you with them to the mall, even if they have a niece or nephew or grandchild pushing you in your wheelchair. I mean, they're not going to just desert you and show up once a month to throw you a bone when your paycheck comes in. I mean, these are wonderful, loving people here. Can the other situation happen? Yes, but I wouldn't expect it to, because just like anywhere else, the good people are going to see it. They're going to turn them in. It's not going to be an issue. So don't be afraid that you're being targeted or that the woman's looking at you only for your money. Now, that may certainly be part of the attraction, but that's also part of the attraction anywhere in the world. Even in the United States, women are looking for men that have good jobs, that are stable, and it doesn't change here either. So I wouldn't say that you're being targeted by women for your money, but you are targeted for women for the same reason that a man would be anywhere else. If you're stable, if you keep yourself up, if you shave every day like I don't. Beards aren't really popular here like they are in the U.S. But, if you take care of yourself and you're a financially stable guy and they've seen you around a little bit, you're not going to have any problem talking to women. They will be interested. They'll be more than willing to give you their number, text you, go have a cup of coffee with you. But as far as being an outright target, no. And not every Filipino is looking for a foreigner to hook up with. I mean, everyone has their preferences. So it's pretty much just like in the United States or anywhere else. So there's nothing really all that unique about women in the Philippines in that regards. Now, there are some unique things about women in the Philippines, which we'll have to get into in a whole different video, because that's a video all on its own. But I just wanted to give you a few ideas and a few concepts of how poverty affects a foreigner in the Philippines, especially in relationship to rural or province life, because the level of poverty is going to be greater here in many cases, or the average income is going to be greater here than in larger cities. Do they have poverty in larger cities? Absolutely. But there's also more job opportunities there, more professional people. So it is what it is. But anyway, I thank you for listening to me. Hey, if you liked this video and you want to see some more like it, please click like and subscribe and check out my other videos. I'm posting videos at least once a week now. I'm trying for 2. And pretty soon I'm going to be taking you to some cool places to hang out and stay as well. But at this time, I'd like to sign off and thank you for watching.